Part 3, Synchronicities. Not long after that glimpse, I began seeing 111 every single day. The numbers 111 showed up absolutely everywhere. And without me even noticing it, it would snap into my awareness. For 2 years straight, those numbers appeared on clocks, receipts, street signs. Again, literally everywhere. It felt like more than a coincidence, as if reality itself was winking at me, confirming my consciousness had shifted. Synchronicities illustrate how the LCS seems to communicate through perfectly timed coincidences. You might be wrestling with a difficult decision about your relationship when the same song with deeply relevant lyrics begins playing everywhere you go. In the grocery store, your friend's car, in the restaurant when you're having dinner, as if the universe is offering guidance through music. Another common synchronicity occurs when you're randomly thinking about someone you haven't spoken to in years, perhaps wondering how they're doing or feeling nostalgic about shared memories, only to have them call you out of the blue that same day or bump into them unexpectedly at a coffee shop across town. Chris had told me of many of his synchronicities the higher up he went in consciousness, from a rat appearing after he said someone who snitched on him was a rat, to discussing about Lithuania with a friend on the phone before visiting a stylist, only to have his hair cut by a Lithuanian girl, a rare ethnicity in his very small town in Canada. These experiences feel profoundly meaningful, not because of their individual components, but because of their uncanny timing and relevance to your inner emotional landscape. Campbell explains synchronicities as purposeful nudges from the LCS, designed to support personal growth and awakening. According to his theory, these aren't random coincidences, but carefully orchestrated events that help people recognize deeper patterns at precisely the right moments for maximum impact. He emphasizes that the more aware and open someone becomes, the more synchronicities they notice, creating a reciprocal relationship where growth leads to more guidance, which supports further evolution. The LCS manipulates probabilities to create these meaningful coincidences while maintaining plausible deniability. They never violate physical laws and can always be explained away as mere chance, even though their timing feels extraordinary. The primary purpose is to wake people up to a larger reality and confirm they're on the right path. Synchronicities also teach us to release excessive control and trust life's flow, showing how things align naturally when we cooperate with the system rather than forcing outcomes. The more actively someone works on their consciousness evolution, the more frequent and meaningful these experiences become. As weeks turned into months, I found myself increasingly trapped within the confines of that small, high-rise room. The downtown Denver clock tower loomed just outside my window. Its loud, hourly chimes became a sinister soundtrack to my deteriorating mental state. Each gong sent waves of disassociation through me as I stared helplessly at its face, convinced it was mocking me, counting down the remaining days of my life. I would curl deeper into my bed with every toll, my body contracting against the sheets as my fear consumed me entirely. I started needing more comforting phone calls with family members until I finally acknowledged a terrifying truth. I no longer felt safe being alone. Something was deeply wrong in causing all of this, and I couldn't put my finger on it. Was it the crowns, PTSD, the rampant inflammation, chronic stress and isolation? All of these? One day I woke up and just couldn't take it anymore. So I quit both my digital marketing job and Tacklebox, recognizing that I could no longer contribute meaningfully to either. The decision brought simultaneous relief and fear, as freedom came without any financial plan or clear direction. Later that same day, and in a moment of complete desperation and inexplicable mental anguish, I called my father, who immediately flew out to pack my life into boxes and drive me back to Kentucky. It's the last place I wanted to be, but it's the only place where family could keep me tethered to reality. Kentucky's brutal winter wrapped around me like a suffocating blanket, its bitter cold penetrating deeper than my bones into the marrow of my spirit. Though family surrounded me, I had never felt more isolated, visiting the town's solitary coffee shop where I pretended to search for meaningful work while my psyche slowly disintegrated. I watched my mother crumble before me, until one day she couldn't bear to see me suffer anymore and insisted in a tearful ultimatum that I admit myself to the lone mental hospital in town. I reluctantly agreed, unsure if it would help, but too exhausted to fight her or myself anymore. The facility resembled the dystopian experiment in human misery. Its entire literary collection consisted of 3 books authored by Fox News personalities, while the television perpetually broadcast Cops reruns to a captive audience of the walking wounded. Among my fellow patients was a strikingly handsome young man who had retreated into a complete catatonia, spending days frozen in the same position, his vacant stare fixed on institutional walls. An elderly Korean War veteran, robbed of sight and recently widowed, haunted the halls in his wheelchair, speaking only of his desire to reunite with his deceased wife, his trauma-shattered mind finding no peace in this supposed sanctuary. My roommate was a completely manic man trying to calm down from medication-induced psychosis that had driven him to self-harm. How in God's name was I supposed to get better here? This was hell. After 3 days there, I left more damaged than before, having witnessed the absolute nadir of existence. Not long after, COVID-19 swept into America and erased millions of jobs in a matter of weeks. Trapped in my family home, I scrambled with countless others for positions that vanished almost as soon as they were posted. Then the LCS tossed me an unexpected lifeline in the form of an interview for a sales position with a large corporation. Several rounds later, I had the offer, complete with Fortune 500 health insurance and the highest salary since my return to the States. Coworkers all believed the pandemic would pass, and I look forward to meeting and working alongside my colleagues in a beautiful downtown Denver office. But as the move drew closer, the dread set in. I was going back to a city where my mind had collapsed just months earlier, only this time in the middle of a global crisis that would leave me even more isolated. I could not tell if I was driven by courage or by sheer survival instinct, but I knew the truth. I was getting worse by the day in Kentucky. With the inevitability of another mental collapse hanging over me, I clung to the desperate hope that a steady, reliable salary and amazing dental insurance might at least pay for the full mouth makeover I desperately needed. Still unaware that my crowns were toxic and my face, from jaw to skull, was riddled with infections attacking my nervous system, I was terrified to set out alone and face this on my own, during a pandemic nonetheless. I simply had no other choice. I had to square up with the dragon again. But thank Christ, was that job ever a godsend. I had great managers, a fully remote, relatively easy job that I even overachieved at. Year after year, this company earned accolades as one of the top workplaces in America, and its medical leave policy was genuinely exceptional, a blessing I would soon need desperately. My gallbladder, completely blocked at 100%, required surgical removal, while over 20 dental visits revealed a parade of conflicting opinions about what was destroying my mouth. I was in a hellscape beyond description, and even more alone during COVID than ever before. During that phase of intense isolation, my thoughts ran rampant.